Hey everyone, welcome to the Wildrift Patch Notes 4.4, where we will be discussing the different changes and how it affects the current meta. Take note that this patch has been released one day prior and I already have some experience in playing this current patch. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Barrel.
Okay, patch notes are finally out after playing the game one day blind, so let's see what we got. First on the list is Fiddlesticks. I've played this in PBE and I think it has the potential to become broken, just like Hecarim, which is good for junglers like us. He's also released right now in the live patch. New features, Wild Pass. The new skin will be Detective Echo, and there's gonna be Wild Pass Emporium with the old Wild Pass champions. Rank games, new skin would be Ash. Not too bad for a free skin. And it's gonna be available tomorrow at 8 a.m. CST. Game modes, Arena 2v2 v2v2, which is good. I've played this in League PC and it's very fun. And if you're a casual player, this definitely would be fun for you as well. So it's gonna be available November 10, which is about 2 weeks from now, plus some Easter eggs. Quality of life updates. We've added new rank rewards for guilds. I've seen this in-game. You can customize the page you share. We've added a new champion score reward system. And the new reward system will give you a champion protection card. Okay, this is good for those who want to get top 1 on their champion. And this can recover 50% points deducted from the champion score. Very interesting. And it also changed the champion score growth rules in Legendary Queue. Events, Coca-Cola. So at least it's nice to know that Coke still sponsors Wildrift. And with the anniversary event gonna start right now, happy 3 years to Wildrift. Gameplay changes. Oh, this is the fun part. Movement speed adjustments. Lux 10. So I think the 10 ones are really good. Oriana is 10. Seraphine's 10. So basically all of the mages got a buff. Wind up, cast adjustments. So this made their skills a lot smoother, where they would be able to cast this a lot quicker. Things to note would be probably Dark Binding, Command Attack. Yeah, basically all of the mages yet again. Mobile cast adjustments. I think this makes it easier to cast. For example, Veigar's second skill, there's not much of a delay when he casts his skill. New items. Oh, this is Crown of the Broken Queen. I think this is the newest and most broken item right now. It's basically a free Banshees plus Alistar ulti. Because what this item does is that not only does it give you mana, ability haste, MP, AP, and HP, this is the broken part where it blocks the next ability. And not only that, it also reduces all incoming ability by 70% for 1.5 seconds. So if you're an assassin, this item is gonna make you really sad since you have to burn this before going for an all-in. You can't even hit it once and then burst. You have to wait for 1.5 seconds before unleashing your burst damage. This also provides additional 20 AP when the magic shield is up. Chemtech Chainsword, another new item. This is really good on bruisers since it gives HP, ability haste, and attack damage. Bruisers don't buy Mortal Reminder for their anti-healing. This is another alternative that they could go for. Examples of this would be Irelia and Renekton. Hextech Alternator, a bit of damage, good for pokes if you build this early. Magnetic Blaster, this is another new item for mostly ADCs. This is the combined Static Shiv plus Rapid Fire Cannon, RIP to those items. So not only does this give crit, attack speed, movement speed, the Energize attack now gives additional attack range and can bounce to 5 nearby targets, which can crit. Then we go to the Magi's. I've tested this item. I think this is a bit overrated. People think that it might be OP, but it's really hard to stack and it just becomes useless if you die once. There was some math done and the most efficient stacks that you need to have is 8 so that it will be cost effective. But I think 10 is the sweet spot so that you would get the additional move speed from the Magi's stacks. One last thing is that not sure why it only gives 3 stacks for melee champions, and it's very hard to stack Megis with melee champions. Ranged champions get more stacks for some random reason. The next up is Oceanid Trident. This is basically Serpent's Fang for AP champions and a low-key nerf to those who have a lot of shielding like Shen and Set. Before, there are only specific champions that counter them, but now all of the mages can counter these shield champions. It gives HP, ability haste, ability power, and 70% M-Pen. Pretty good item if the opponents have a lot of shields. Then we have Ring of Revelation. This is a new item. This builds into Sheen if I'm not mistaken. Surging Scales, basic armor item. These are small cost items which are easy to make while mages don't have their core items yet. Item changes. Armor Twin Guard has been changed. So basically the stats are the same. They just changed the build path of a lot of items. So with Twin Guard, Surging Scales plus Negatron Cloak, Archangel, new 7% M-Pen. They added M-Pen to almost all of the major AP items because of the fact that there's no void stuff. So just take note of that fact. Awakened Soul Stealer, 7%. New build path update. BF Sword, new build path update. They're making everything a lot easier to purchase. So your buys are not that bad if you go home with like 1k gold. Black Cleaver also has been changed. Bloodthirster, old. So they removed the extra shield that you get on overflowed healing. Now it's an 11 to 25 AD plus 15% attack speed when your health is above 50%. So you may be a bit squishier, but I think the additional damage and attack speed, it's worth it. Since if you're an ADC, you don't want to get hit when in combat, so you would be able to keep this passive up as much as possible. Cosmic Drive, 7% magic penetration. Crystalline Reflector, got a bit more expensive, but in exchange, you have 150 HP, less armor though, and no more ability haste. Not sure why they changed this item. So the new passive of this is that you gain a mirror shard 3 seconds each time while casting champion abilities. The duration time of the fragment cannot be stacked during the fragment's existence. It blocks 8 to 15 from the enemy champions and deals 10 plus 3% ability power plus 1% health magic damage. Basically, the new passive of this item is an overall buff. Before, it only blocks up to 3 champion abilities. Now it can block unlimited amount of champion abilities as long as you have this mirror shard. Probably overall buff for this item, but not much champions are gonna buy this, especially with the Crown of the Shattered Queen being the go-to defensive item. Death's Dance. We've seen some incidents where the bleeding effect would interrupt players' recall, so it no longer works on minions and monsters. Thank you! This is so annoying if you're playing a jungle and you have Death's Dance. If you clear one more camp before going back, you have to wait for the Death's Dance to get removed before recalling. This is a really good quality of life changes. This also can happen on Dragon or Baron. Deadman's Plate, another change in the recipe with Edge of Night. So all of these still have the same stats, but the recipe is now changed and there's more items that you need to buy. Harmonic Echo, build path update. Hunting Guys got a bit cheaper, but in exchange minus 50 HP. Hex Drinker has now been changed. There's no more lifeline passive on this item. It just gives flat stats. Build path update, no more lifeline. Horizon Focus, 7% M-Pen. Hullbreaker, got a bit more expensive but you get more HP. Infinity Orb, more M-Pen. Jorim's Fist, got cheaper but less HP. Last Whisper, got a bit more expensive but it gives more armor penetration. Should be decent. And with Liandry, more HP and 7% M-Pen with a new build path as well. Lichbane, 7% M-Pen, new build path. Lost Chapter got cheaper. What is this? Maximum ability power. I think you can stack this. And it no longer has ability haste. Luden's Echo, more M-Pen. A bit of change in the recipe. Mantle of the 12R, which almost no one buys. Another build path update, and with Mo getting a bit more expensive, but in exchange, you get more AD, and with a build path change, it now requires 2 Hex Drinkers, which is very weird to look at, but with the Hex Drinker change, it makes sense since it only gives flat stats right now. Lifeline passive has been removed. Life Grip passive also removed. And with the new passive, which is the Demon Bane, 20% damage dealt is converted into a magic shield that absorbs up to 60 to 400 magic damage. The shield decays by 5% per second. So think about it like the old Bloodthirster where it gets converted into a shield, but instead of a normal shield, it just gets converted into a magic shield. Morello, 7% M-Pen, and with a new passive, 50% Grievous Wounds for 3 seconds, as compared to before, it was 40 to 60. Mortal Reminder has also gotten some changes, a bit more expensive, less attack damage, but it now has crit, and with it still has the Grievous Wounds passive, but the reason why they made this get a crit, because there's no more Lord Dominic's. And if you're a champion that doesn't need crit, you can just go for the Kemp Punk instead. Nashor's Tooth, getting a build path update. Recurve Bow Nashor's Talon, needlessly large rod, becoming a bit more expensive, but you get more AP. Build path update. Noon Quiver, getting also a bit more expensive. Inflation is hitting Wildrift right now. Plus 5% attack speed. Build path update. Phage, finally, an item that got cheaper, but you get less HP. Phantom Dancer, another build path update. Rabadon is getting a minor rework. You get less AP, but you get added M-Pen and rework passive from 40% flat ability power. It's now scaling from 20 to 45% AP, which means that it's not a good first item buy anymore as compared to previous patches. Recurve Bow, wow, plus 500 gold, but you get a new passive which is reinforced attack deals 15 on-hit bonus damage against targets. Riftmaker getting a buff, 7% Magic Pen, Build Path Update, Rod of Ages, 7% M-Pen, and with Runan's Hurricane, this has gotten also a minor rework from 2.8 to 2.9, and they removed the critical strike, and with this, it has a new passive which you will get either 30 damage or 60 ability power, plus 15 bonus damage on hit against targets. So this new Runan's Hurricane is a buff for all of the AP on hit champions, which means that they can build this without the weird critical strike. Examples of champions that can build this cleanly are Kale, Teemo, Kaisa, and even AP Twitch. Seraph's Embrace, 7% Magic Pen, and Serpent's Fang, new Shield Reaver, dealing damage to an enemy champion, reduces any shields they gain for 3 seconds. Melee champions have life 10% bonus magic plus 40% shield reduction, capped at 60 while ranged, 10% bonus damage plus 25% capped at 45%. So this is still good even though you're a ranged champion. 45%, you just get more shield reduction if you're melee. So this is still a perfect item against champions that have a lot of shielding, like Shen, Set, perfect buy for Kha'Zix and Zed players. Sheen got a bit cheaper, and build path update and Sterak's Gauge. Lifeline optimized the shield decay mechanic. When the shield is consumed partially by enemy attacks, it will not decay to 0 in advance. So they made the decay a bit slower compared to before. Thornmail. Okay, what's the new passive? When hit by an enemy attack, deal 20 plus 6% plus 1% bonus health magic damage to the attacker, inflicting grievous wounds for 3 seconds. So it's now 60% instead of 40%. And it also has 1% bonus health magic damage. So if you're building HP, then the Thornmail damage will also increase. Zeal, a bit more expensive, but you get more critical strike and build path update. And with that, let's see the removed items. 07 for Banshee's Veil, Lord Dominic's, Rapid Fire Cannon, Static Shiv, Void Amethyst, and Void Staff. You have served Wildrift well, and I will see you in the next life. Rune changes. Last patch, we launched the new rune system, which added a lot of new runes. To make it easier, we've added a new feature for rune stats. Oh my god, this is so big. And this makes rune optimization a lot better, since you're able to see the damage, and now you can know if the rune is worth it or not. You can also view these stats after the game, which is really big. System changes. Dragon Soul rework. If a team kills 3 dragons consecutively, they'll get a Dragon Soul buff, which has a bonus effect. Similar to what we had on the first season of Wildrift where there's a Dragon Soul effect. With Infernal, you get bonus damage if you hit with an ability or an attack. Mountain Soul, you get a 210 shield if you don't receive damage. I think this is the most useless soul because of all of the anti-shielding in the game right now. Ocean Soul effect, regenerate 2% every 5 seconds. This is good. You get more lifesteal if you hit an enemy with an ability or an attack. This is perfect for poke champions so that they would have instant lifesteal. Ice Dragon, this is very interesting. Get more ability haste and mark a target for 3 seconds when dealing damage to enemy champions with attacks or abilities. And with this, it slows the enemy champion when the mark disappears and deals bonus 2 damage equal to 10% of the damage the enemy champions receive during the mark period. In short, this is like a semi-Z ulti that slows the opponents and deals bonus 2 damage based on damage received. This is very interesting and something that I'd like to see in game if it's broken or not. Damage to turrets adjustment. So what they did here is they nerfed the damage that AP champions can do to towers since it's so strong from 50% down to 40%. Ghost Poro receiving new effects. It now has 3 HP and will be stunned after 3 attacks. Ghost Poro will no longer provide vision while stunned, and it recovers after 60 seconds. If Ghost Poro is not stunned, it regenerates health after 5 seconds, regenerating 1 HP every 3 seconds. Finally, you can kill the Poro because this is so annoying, especially if you're a winning team. You just can't stay on the bush on the Raptors plus the red buff because this Poro is just roaming around. So it's very hard to catch people on their own jungle. Heal also getting another rework. It now restores 90 to 370 health to you and the most wounded nearby ally champion and grants 30% move speed for 1 second. Healing is halved for champions recently affected by heal. It just brought back the spell for ADCs to use. Because before, it wasn't efficient if an ADC goes heal. Because of this effect, wherein it's increased by 100% on ally champions. In short, ADCs can now go back to heal as their summoner spell instead of forcing it onto the support champion. Smite, when you have the Smite spell equipped, monster's health will display execute health threshold. This is a bit annoying, but I understand they're making the game easier for newbie junglers so they know when to smite. Rift Herald, damage to Nexus, 771125 to maximum health of Nexus times 25%. This is almost nothing because 99% of the games, Rift Herald is not used on the Nexus, mostly just used on the first tower. Rift Herald dies after hitting the Nexus once. Oh no, no more Dancing Shelly. Feels bad, man. New QoL changes when enemy champions are continuously attacked. The last attack will not be interrupted by distance as the enemy champions exceed the attack range. This is for last hitting, I guess. Optimized star page, optimized red and blue buff respawn timer. There's now an announcer. Tapping the icons of teammates near the minimap will now share their ultimate cooldown. Oh, that's interesting. And then made more optimizations to scoreboard. New skins. Bimo, Count Casadin, Pumpkinhead Fiddlesticks, Prestige Yi, Spirit Blossom Ari, Spirit Blossom Yi, Spirit Blossom Riven, Spirit Blossom Set, and Spirit Blossom Tristana. Interesting, there's no Heartsteel skins here, but maybe for the next update. Extra bits, a lot of bug fixes. Okay, fix a bug that caused Gwen's second ability to make her untargetable during the Pounce of Tibbers. Fix a bug that caused the Pounce of Tibbers to not interrupt the camouflage effect of Senna's third ability. Fix the bug to request Thresh ability to be terminated by QSS. So now you can still pull on Thresh even though they use QSS. Interesting. Fix a bug that caused the recast of Pant Ultimate to break shield but causing only half the original damage. Wow, okay. Fix a bug that caused Shyvana's second ability to consume shields when attacking enemy champions with ability shields. Oh, interesting. Fix a bug that caused Teemo Shrooms to directly remove ability shields. So this is a lot of bug fixes on ability shields. Fix a bug that caused Varus' first ability to be reduced when blight from his targets with ability shields. Fix a bug that caused Urgot Ultimate to make the enemy champion name above the health bar disappear after the champion dies. Interesting. Fix a bug that caused Warwick first ability cooldown to not be reduced after killing minions. Oh, buff for Baron Warwick fixed a bug that caused Vladimir attack to disappear in front of spawn platform, causing it not to hit enemy champions. Wow, interesting. Fix a bug that caused the assist to not be counted when Vladimir ultimate hits Sion and Sion is killed by the turret. Interesting spaghetti code. Fix a bug that caused set second ability to have inconsistent display range compared to the actual effect range. Oh, this happens to me sometimes. I randomly get hit by set W even though I'm already out of range. Fix a bug that caused Morgana movement to be frozen after using her ultimate on enemy champions with ability shields. Very interesting bug fixes. And with that, the patch is done. And for me, looks like a good patch. A lot of new changes, a lot of new things to experiment. This is favorable for all of the AP champions with the new items such as Magi and this crown. Really strong right now. And probably I'll be playing more AP junglers so I can see on how strong they are right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed our patch rundown. If you have any comments about the patch, feel free to comment down below. And that is it for me. Enjoy, happy anniversary, and peace out. Ciao, ciao. Bye.